Hi, my name is Spencer, and I am a member of the Church of Good Shepherd Stewardship Committee. As you know, the committee has been talking to you over the past several months about our stewardship campaign, which will formally roll out this fall from September 15th through the end of October. This is very important. It is the primary source of income for the church. There are a few other sources, such as our fall fair and our spring auction, and of course the bargain box contributes monthly, which all helps. But your pledging is the primary source of funding to pay our bills. And we do have bills just like you. In your household, you have rent, mortgage, food, groceries, gas, electricity, and so on. We have the same thing, which we must address. The committee has been talking to you. Each of us have kind of had our own different little perspective that we've talked about, and we're hoping that we might reach out and touch each of you in some way to make you think about pledging. As I said, it is very, very important. And I've been thinking about stewardship for quite a lot lately, and one thought I had was the original stewards of Good Shepherd. Jan found a little history pamphlet in the office, and I will kind of paraphrase a little bit from this. In the 1880s, Reading had a group of Episcopalians that gathered and worshiped and prayed to God. They tried initially to form a church, build a church, but it didn't quite work out. So for 20 or 30 years, they would get on the trolley here, go over to Wakefield, and go into Emmanuel Church for their services. Then, approximately 1913, the Reverend James Coggan had a mission. We need to build a church of our own because our parish was growing. More and more Episcopals from Reading were gathering. So a vestry was elected, and they started pledging. And they pledged to save up to build this church. And they pledged and pledged, and after so many years, they finally had enough to buy some land, which they bought here on Chute and Woburn Street. And then they continued to pledge. Finally, they had enough to approach a bank and ask for a loan. And the loan was granted. So we then had a loan. We hired an architect and a contractor to build this church. And in about 1922, construction began, and in 1925, it was completed. And we have this beautiful, wonderful church. And we are the benefactors of the original stewards of Good Shepherd. And this wasn't done on the cheap. This church is gorgeous. Our stained glass windows are magnificent. I think they're valued at $800,000 to $1 million. Our organ has over 1,000 pipes. It sounds beautiful. So we are the benefactors of their stewardship. We are standing on their shoulders. And once the church was built, the pledging didn't stop. Now the parishioners needed to maintain the church, just as we do. So they continued to pledge year after year, again, to pay the heat, the electricity, the oil, the pastor's salary. But now they also had a mortgage to pay off. So in addition to all the maintenance, they had to pledge to pay off the mortgage, which they did. And eventually that was paid off. And again, we are the benefactors of their great generosity. So we come to church now, and we don't have to think about paying a mortgage. All we have to do is maintain our church. And it's our turn, just as generations before us have maintained this beautiful church. It's like running the race. It's our turn to take the baton and run a leg, and we will maintain this church. And we come here and we listen to the words of God, the gospel, the words of the prophets. We receive communion, and we have great fellowship with one another. There is great love and joy and compassion in this church. And after church, we go into the lounge to have coffee and, again, commune with one another, and we talk and see, what's going on in our lives and help each other as best we can. So I'm asking you, when the pledge campaign rolls out in this fall, to prayerfully consider and do the best you can for this church. If you are already pledging, try to do a little bit better than inflationary 3 or 4%. And for many of those who maybe only attend occasionally and you're not pledging, I strongly encourage you to do something. If all of you do just a little bit, we will have enough to balance the budget. So thank you very much for your attention. God bless.